Hi, everyone, and welcome to our FY 2026 Heartland Continuum of Care HUD NOFO Competition Technical Assistance webinar. Our goal over the next few minutes is just to walk you through our competition page. We want to show you all the resources that are there, talk about the competition, the timeline, all of those dynamics, and make sure you know where to find all the information you need to apply for projects in this year's competition. As you go to our page, some of the things that you'll see there at the top of the page. The first things that are linked to are really HUD's resources, HUD's documents on the notice of funding opportunity, and their competition page are crucial pages for you to really spend some time on especially if this is your first time applying for a project. And as we say in our announcement, if you are an organization who meets the eligibility criteria on HUD's NOFO, whether you're a nonprofit, a governmental entity, a faith-based organization, if you meet HUD's eligibility criteria, we'd love for you to consider applying for a project and helping to create opportunities to move our community's efforts to address homelessness forward. So when you click on the notice of funding opportunity, it's going to take you to a document we've downloaded and are hosting in a Google Drive. But you can see the document's about 128 pages long, and it's incredibly in depth. It's going to talk to you about who are eligible applicants to even apply for projects. If this is your first time, you'll find all the information you need there. It'll go into what HUD's priorities are for this competition. And it's important to note that they are significantly different than in past competitions. So take some time to read through what HUD is looking for. There's an increased emphasis on service requirements, on really a focus on helping people reach self-sustainability. And so as you design your project or think about the project that you would like to create, to be competitive in the local competition and then in the national competition, really making sure that your project is one that HUD is looking for is critically important. As you go deeper into the NOFO document, you're going to find out there's information there about the budget, about the narratives. There is some information that we don't have yet. I'll talk about that. Historically, HUD would release detailed instructions for different parts of the competition, and we're still waiting on those. But the other thing that I would draw your attention to that has changed and has some new elements this year is the threshold review requirement, the merit review, and the risk review. Important for your organization to read through those to the best of your ability, understand what HUD is looking for there, and incorporate that into your project. And then when you go to the COC competition page on HUD's website, which is linked there as well, you're going to get to there's frequently asked questions. Again, important to remember that there's really two competitions that are a part of the NOFO competition. One is our local competition, so that's what we're talking about now. And then the other part is that our continuum of care has to compete against continuums of care across the country to really try to gain as much new funding as possible. So when you're reading these documents, some of it's going to talk about that national competition, which is really continuum wide. It has to do with all of our partnerships. But then when you're looking at the resources on our website in particular, they're really going to be hyper-focused on the local competition, which is currently going on. But you'll see some different information. HUD does have multiple competitions going at one time, and a lot of those resources are there. So that may be a little bit confusing at times, but just let us know if you have questions, and we'd be happy to guide you through that. So one of the next pieces of information on the competition page is funding available. Another element here, we don't yet have the exact figures for this. We're working off of estimated numbers based on what we see in HUD's NOFO document. But everything we're seeing indicates that as a community, we have the opportunity to apply for more funding than potentially ever before. At this current time, our community receives a little bit over $600,000 in HUD funding. Every competition, we have the opportunity to apply for a little bit more. A lot of times that's about 100,000 or 150,000 more to try to win. This year, the total that we can apply for, at least the estimated amount that we think is close, is a little over $1.3 million. You can see some of that is going to be that tier one funding is, our local competition is focused on competitive process to choose renewal funds for that tier. Tier 2 is really going to be new projects. HUD has an emphasis on transitional housing and supportive services only project in that Tier 2. But there's also an emphasis or an opportunity to apply for projects that serve people who are fleeing domestic violence, and you can see that figure there as well. So the important thing for you to know there, if you've been on the fence about applying for a new project before because you knew the competition was going to be tight and there may not be space for new projects or many new projects. This year, as a community, we have the opportunity, or will likely have the opportunity, to apply for a significantly larger um, portion of HUD funding than ever before. Going a little bit further into the local competition resources, one of the most important pieces is going to be our local competition timeline. There you'll see all the important deadlines. So HUD released the NOFO on June 1st. Our continuum took some time to review it, create our scoring tools, update our policy, and get all of that approved. All of those resources were released a week ago on July 1st. This video will be posted later today. And then the next important deadline is that all project applications are due 3 weeks from today. So we'll show you the links and show you some of that. But the due date for those is July 29th. And then in the week after that, our rating and ranking committee will meet. They will score projects, they'll rate projects. They'll take a recommended ranked list to our board of directors, our Continuum of Care board of directors. And at that point, we will be able to let projects know whether we are recommending them for funding and how much funding we're recommending them for. So all of this is going to move pretty fast. And by August 6th, organizations should know at least where they stand in the local competition. If your organization did not receive funding, our policy document has some grounds on which you might be able to appeal. And so there's information there about that. And then the other thing to kind of keep in mind, if you're a new project, this is a new process to you. The system within which HUD accepts projects is called eSNAPs. And if you are a project that's awarded funding in the local competition, you'll have to go through the process of entering in all your information into the eSNAP system. And you'll have just a little over 2 weeks to do that, or a little under 2 weeks to do that, rather. So there is some information there, and we'll show you some resources so you can learn about eSNAPs prior to that. So that is the local competition timeline. And then the remaining parts are really about our full community application. We're going to post that to our website before it's due, and then submit that to HUD. Going further from there, some of the next resources that you'll see in the local competition timeline are new project applications. So if you do not have a current HUD-funded project, but you want to create one, that's what you're going to apply for. If you just want to create, maybe you're already receiving funding, but you want to create a new project, this is what you're going to use. Another reason why you may use this is maybe you're currently funded, but it's a rapid rehousing project or a different type of project, and you want to try to transition that grant into a new project. You're also going to use the new project application for that. So that's going to take you to a Google form. There's other relevant information there as you go through. If you sometimes, and the Google form doesn't allow you to see every question, and so if you want to take some time to prepare for that, there's a PDF of all of the questions, the full application linked here on the website, and that will give you a chance to really go through, look at all the questions. Highly recommend, answering all your questions in a document on your computer and then copying and pasting into the Google form just in case anything goes wrong. So that is there for you to see all of that, know what the questions are, and prepare yourself for the local application. And the same thing is true for the renewal application. The link to the application is live. It's there on the website. But also we've got the PDF there so everyone can go all the way through and see all of the questions. The other thing that we have there is part of all project applications, you have to submit a budget. And let's see, there you go. Actually, it's the same one. So it's there on the website. A template is there. So it gives you a budget example, lets you kind of get an idea of what that would look like. And then there's a template for you to create a budget for the project that you're applying for. And the link to that is there on the resource page. The next important thing to keep in mind is, as you apply for these projects, they're going to be scored. So you can also go to the website and you can see the scorecard. This is what rating and ranking is going to use to determine, where projects land and what projects are going to be awarded funding or at least recommended for funding. And so you can read all of that criteria, see how those questions will be scored, all there on the website too. The new project scoring tool is there, and also the renewal project scoring tool is there. So you can review those. And then you're going to have questions. Very likely, a lot of you will, and that's okay. There's a link to a form. So as you have questions about the NOFO, you can enter them there. What we're going to do, we're going to answer your questions as they come up. But the other thing that we're going to do is we'll use that. If a lot of people are asking the same question or asking for similar resources, we'll create frequently asked questions portion on the website, and we'll post those questions anonymously along with the answers so that everybody has the same information as they're working through the competition. The next question or the next section on the website, rather, is just really about resources that hopefully are helpful to you as you create new projects. Really, as a continuum, what we're looking for are projects that help us advance our strategic plan to address homelessness. And so that document is here as well as the mid-plan progress report. Just earlier this year, we released this document that really kind of assesses where we are in our strategic plan and where we're trying to get. And so as you're developing a project that helps us advance the strategic plan and the initiatives around that, you can review those. If your project is going to be focused on youth, we also completed a youth homelessness needs report. And you can see a lot of what was identified through that process, and that'll be really helpful information as you design your project. Our Built for Zero community dashboard will show you monthly inflow and outflow into the system. There's some different ways. Oh, it's a bad link. Let's see, or maybe I clicked on the wrong one. I clicked on the wrong one. Good news. Okay. When you go to this dashboard, once we get it all loaded here, it's going to show you our actively homeless numbers over the last 90 days. But it's also going to give you've got days from when a person is ID'd to housing. You can see monthly housing placements over the last year and a half, monthly inflow and outflow from the system. And then last here is our point in time summary. So our point in time count earlier this year, it identified individuals who were unsheltered, those who were in emergency shelter, or those who were in transitional housing. And so you can see all of that here on the website, and you can use that as part of the information to design your project as well. The last section is really different resources to be helpful helpful to you as you navigate the competition. I'm going to refresh this real quick. Some of these are really, there are certain requirements you'll have to do. You have to make sure you have a unique entity identifier. There's different pieces like that that you'll need to make sure you have in place. HUD Exchange is a resource that HUD creates that really just has a tremendous amount of different information. It has toolkits, it has guidebooks, it has information about the regulations about transitional housing or supportive services only project. And a lot of those, this binder on continuum of care program elements has a lot of that information as well. So maybe if you're new to HUD or HUD funding or HUD projects, there's really a lot of information and searchable so that you can get a lot of answers to questions through their HUD Exchange website. The eSNAPS portal, again, you don't have to do that until the point you know that your project has been selected to move forward for funding. If you want to get a jump on that, you certainly can do all the work to make sure that you get your organization set up in there so that you're ready to go if your project is recommended for funding. And the next few resources are just as we've navigated this and some of the changes, just some of the things that we think could be helpful for people. This SAMHSA letter, one of the threshold or merit review requirements as part of HUD's NOFO is that if an organization is engaged in harm reduction activities, that could put their eligibility for funding in jeopardy. But people define harm reduction really broadly. And so this SAMHSA letter provides some clarification for that. For example, if your organization has naloxone on hand, that you might consider that harm reduction. SAMHSA here explains that that's considered a life-saving activity and not in the prohibited harm reduction activities. So there's some information there that can provide clarity. The next three information, our next three links are guides from our partners at Homebase. One is on all the threshold requirements that are a part of the NOFO, the application process. One is a guide on transitional housing projects, so just kind of a more accessible look at what transitional housing projects could be and what's eligible and all of those types of dynamics. And the next one is on what's called supportive services only projects, and it really just provides some clarity around that. So the last little item there is just the individuals that are serving on our rating and ranking committee. They have agreed to take the time to really invest in studying our projects, studying the applications, and helping to make sure that the projects that we put forward as a community help to advance our efforts to address homelessness. So again, thank you for your time. As we look at the frequently asked questions and those that come in, there's a possibility that we might do more of these recordings, or we just may highlight different resources there on the webpage. As we do that, we'll blast those out to the full Heartland Continuum of Care list. And so we'd strongly encourage you to make sure that you subscribe to that. We'll also do our best to spread that word everywhere we can. So thanks for taking the time to listen in. We hope that you'll consider putting a project together. And again, if you have questions, make sure you just take a minute and click the link on the competition page and let us know. So take care, everybody, and have a good day.